Hey everyone, welcome back. I'm Michael and we're going to be getting right back into some more Reddit stories. If you enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Now, without further ado, let's begin. This story was posted by a deleted user in the AITA subreddit. The post is titled, "I told my daughter I never want to see her again because she reminds me of the worst time in my life. I am 31 years old and gay. I am married to my husband who is 29 years old and we have been together since college. We have a quiet, happy life and recently adopted a baby boy. I have worked really hard to get to a place where I feel safe and whole. But a few weeks ago, my past came crashing in and now I feel like I might have handled it horribly. When I was 17, I was still living at home with my extremely religious and homophobic parents. I had known I was gay since I was around 12, but I buried it deep. I spent years praying, begging, and trying to convince myself it was a phase. My parents made it clear that if I ever came out, I would be thrown out and cut off. I started dating a girl from youth group. I told myself I loved her. I told myself I could make it work. We had sex once and it was deeply uncomfortable. I shut down emotionally afterward. A few weeks later, she told me she was pregnant. Then she left. I do not know where she went or why, but she was gone. I did not hear a word about the baby after that. Soon after, I left for college, came out, and cut off my parents. I never spoke about what happened with that girl or the baby. It was like sealing off a part of myself I could not survive revisiting. I met my husband in my sophomore year and he is the only person who ever really knew the full story until now. Last month, I got a message on social media from a 14-year-old girl. She said she was my daughter. Her mom told her who I was. She found my name online. She said she was not looking for money or anything, just to know who I am. I felt like the floor fell out from under me. I could not breathe. It was not her fault, I know that, but her existence snapped me right back into that suffocating, terrifying part of my life when I thought I would never be allowed to exist as myself. She looks like that girl. She speaks like her. And every word she wrote, no matter how kind, felt like sandpaper on a wound I thought had healed. I responded once and I told her I was sorry, but I was not able to have a relationship with her. She sent a long message back. It was emotional, but not cruel. She said I abandoned her before she was even born and now I was doing it again. I told her, probably too bluntly, that I never wanted to be her father, that I was a scared, closeted kid forced into a lie, and that seeing her felt like being dragged back into a life I barely survived. I told her not to contact me again. She has not replied. My husband is supportive, but some people, especially my sister, say I crossed a line and acted cruelly towards someone innocent, that it was not her fault she was born and I should have handled it with more compassion. But I genuinely do not think I have the emotional capacity to revisit that version of myself. That period nearly destroyed me. So am I the one in the wrong for telling my daughter I never want to see her again? Shay said, "You are the one in the wrong. You just adopted a baby boy. What if one day he decides to look for his birth parents and is treated the same way you treated your daughter? His parents could have a way more horrifying backstory than yours." To this small palpitation said, "Yeah, exactly this. You cannot expect to be seen as a loving parent to your adopted son while completely shutting out your daughter for something that was not her fault. She did not choose the circumstances of her birth. It is harsh, but you are projecting your pain onto someone who did not cause it." Okay, Tadpole said, "You are the one in the wrong. Your parents were awful, so you decide to also be awful as a parent. Your parents traumatized you, so you decide to traumatize your daughter. Your parents rejected you, so you decide to reject your daughter. You acted cruelly towards someone who is innocent and who ultimately you are responsible for creating. Therefore, you should have been responsible for her well-being for the last 14 years. This next post was made in the AIO subreddit by a user named Sad Twigs. The post is titled, "I found condoms in my boyfriend's toiletry bag. This morning, I was helping my boyfriend get ready for work. He asked me to grab his toothbrush and toothpaste out of his toiletry bag. He has one of those electric toothbrushes with the detachable head and I could not find the head. So I opened up another pocket to look for it. I found condoms, a lot of them. He was gifted this toiletry bag for Christmas before he left on a 3-month trip to visit family in Europe. He acted surprised, like he did not know they were in there, and took them out immediately. He acted like he did not know that pocket existed. I would give him the benefit of the doubt, but at some point, these condoms were packed in his bag over the past 6 months. We have been together for 2 years. The worst part is they are latex condoms. I am allergic to latex. We only use non-latex condoms. Am I overreacting for feeling suspicious about this? I feel like I am going crazy. Update: I have seen the comments and I am kind of freaking out. I am messaging my therapist right now to figure out the best path forward. I was there at Christmas when he was given the bag. It was at his best friend's family house, so part of me is hoping that his best friend put them in there, not knowing I am allergic to latex. We have not been intimate as much lately, maybe once in the past 2 months. I have been really scared that he is not attracted to me anymore, because that is what most people say on here is the reason for someone's sex drive changing so drastically. He asked to move in with me when he came back from his trip, and I said yes. So now I feel really trapped, like what if he has been cheating this whole time he's been living with me? He shares his location, but that does not really mean anything. I am on here all the time. I have seen the stories of how people cheat even when sharing their location. I wish I had not seen anything, and I do not know anything he could say to make me feel more secure. Someone said I should not have asked so I could snoop and find out for sure, but I do not want to have to snoop through my partner's belongings to find proof of them cheating on me. A relationship without trust is dead. We are supposed to talk later, and I will update afterwards. Everyone is so sure he is cheating, and I really hope he is not, because I do not think I will be able to handle it if he is. I am already struggling with my mental health as it is. Update 2. Well, I definitely was not expecting to see over 1,000 comments on my post. This update is long to address everyone's concerns from the previous post. Thank you to the people who sent me kind messages to check on me. I am not sure what the people who sent me messages trying to sleep with me were expecting, aside from getting blocked. That being said, I did have a conversation with my boyfriend last night. I was always planning on having an in-depth conversation about what I had found, but there was nothing I could do about it while he was at work. I texted my therapist because I could tell I was starting to spiral, and posted on here while I was waiting for her response, which I think was a mistake if I am being honest. Although the majority of the comments were supportive, it is impossible for all of you to have as full a picture as my therapist does, and I should have just waited for her to respond to me instead of coming on here. The massive amount of comments was very overwhelming. However, I do think that posting did help me feel more secure in thinking it was suspicious and enabled me to be more assertive when we talked. I appreciate all of the comments telling me I was not overreacting. He never said I was, but his nonchalant response certainly made me feel that way. I appreciate the thoughtful comments encouraging me to have a conversation with him and giving me genuine advice for it. The second conversation went better. I did not accuse him of anything. I pretty much just said that finding latex condoms in addition to the lack of intimacy I had been receiving was making me feel confused and upset. I asked him where the condoms came from. His older brother gave them to him while he was in Europe. To prevent confusion, I'm going to use fake names from here on out. My boyfriend is Theo. His oldest brother is Alvin. His other brother is Simon. Yes, like the Chipmunks. I could not think of other names for 3 brothers. Sorry. Theo had not met his mother's side of the family, including his mother, grandmother, aunt, and older siblings, until his trip. The entire purpose was to get to know his family. He spent half the time with his aunt, grandma, brothers, and cousin in Spain. The other half of the trip he spent with his mother in the middle of nowhere in Portugal, helping her open a kiosk. It was not a sightseeing trip. He did not get to see any big monuments or go to major cities. I was not able to come because I'm in school and work full time, and it was not worth it for me to just come for a week during spring break. I also thought it was important for him to enjoy his one-on-one time with his mom since he was separated from her when he was an infant. His brothers are very different people. Simon seems well adjusted with a long-term girlfriend. He spent a lot of time with Simon and his girlfriend, who was the only one there fluent in English and helped him translate when his Spanish fell short. His oldest brother, the 30-year-old who gave him the condoms, Alvin, has been in and out of prison for a majority of his life. I guess Spain has some strange laws around squatting, so whenever he gets out of prison, he just claims abandoned property and fixes it up to live in because apparently the government would have to provide him housing if they kicked him out. Anyway, while Theo was on the trip, he called and texted me every day. He told me about Alvin obnoxiously catcalling girls when they would all walk down the street, and how Alvin had tried to get both him and Simon to go to an orgy with him, despite both of them having girlfriends. Theo was very clear about having a girlfriend. He carries around a picture of me in his wallet, and his aunt said he talked about me a lot while he was there. Despite this, Alvin was very pushy with him about how he should be sleeping with a bunch of women while he was there and having fun. I remember this from when Theo was there. He found it really annoying. So did Simon. I guess during one of those conversations, Alvin straight up gave Theo a bunch of condoms to use to cheat on me. Side note, I counted them based on a comment someone left about how many are typically in a pack. They are all still there, I think. There are 8. I do not know how many come in the packs in Spain. Theo hid them in his bag. He said he would have left them there, but his aunt cleaned his room regularly, and he did not want the drama of his other family members seeing them. Once he got back, he forgot they were in there. He only uses his toiletry bag when he goes to the gym. We went out together with our friends Saturday night after his shift and stopped at the gym on the way downtown so he could shower and freshen up. Otherwise, his toothbrush is in our bathroom. He is not living out of a suitcase, he is fully moved in. I do see how some commenters saw the existence of the toiletry bag as a red flag when we lived together, so I wanted to clear that up. I did ask him why he accepted the condoms. He said he had zero intention of using them and that he accepted them because Alvin would not listen to anything Theo said about me, and that Alvin left him alone after that. Theo did not even say goodbye to him when he left. He tried to spend as little time with Alvin as possible, despite him constantly inviting both Theo and Simon over to his abandoned house. Simon grew up with Alvin, but still seemed pretty content about avoiding him when I asked about it while Theo was there. I guess Alvin is just not a good person, so the rest of the family avoids him when possible, so that is it. My boyfriend did not cheat on me. The condoms came from his older brother. I believe him. He was very straightforward with his answers and was more concerned with my well-being when he came home and saw how upset I was. He was not defensive at all. He listened to me without interrupting. He told me he loves me and that he has zero desire to cheat on me. He also works 2 jobs, shares his location, and is usually at home if he is not at work or the occasional gym visit. He does not have the time to see other women, and if he does have spare time, he spends it with me or his friends, who are also my friends. He does have friends separate from our friend group at work, but he invites me to come along when they have gone out or asks me to join them when they play video games after work. I love him, I believe him, and I am moving past this. That does not mean I will let any additional red flags slide if they pop up though. As many of you said, I am still young and have my whole life ahead of me. If things get worse, I know I will be okay by myself. I love him and I want him in my life, but my happiness does not depend on his presence. I have a therapy session tomorrow and I have had a lot of time to think. In hindsight, I think what made me spiral the most was that if he really did cheat on me, I would be living with a stranger. I have built so much trust towards him that I view him as this person who would never hurt me intentionally or yell at me or cheat on me. If he was capable of cheating on me, he could be capable of those other things too. That was really scary to think about and made me spiral. The massive amount of comments where everyone was so convinced he was a terrible person and that I had been fooled also did not help. I felt like I had no idea how he would react towards me if it was true, and I was very, very scared. As soon as he came home, I felt very silly for feeling that way. He is nothing like my ex. He has never given me a reason to be afraid of him. I should not have let comments on the internet freak me out so badly, and I definitely need to take some time away from social media. I hope I addressed all the questions and concerns in the comments. Thank you for all your help. Thank you for listening. For the commenters who had questions regarding our sex life and relationship in general, when he first came back from his trip and moved in, things were normal and we both had high sex drives. Things started slowing down pretty drastically over the past couple of months. We have talked about it prior to me finding the condoms. We both acknowledge that it is an issue and that we are at an age where our sexual activity should be at its peak. He says he does not know what is wrong. He is embarrassed because he is attracted to me and does not understand how he can have a gorgeous girlfriend and lose his sex drive. He has an appointment next week to get his hormones checked and has been looking into getting a therapist of his own in case the issue is mental and not physical. It is still difficult to not feel insecure when I try initiating, and he is not in the mood, but he still makes an effort to show affection in other ways. Our current level of intimacy is not ideal, but I do not think it is a lost cause as long as we are working towards a solution together. We have date nights every week. I am very supportive of him spending time with his friends, and he does the same for me. We live together, but no one is clingy or codependent. We do check in with each other to see how we are feeling about the living situation since it is somewhat new and we are still figuring out how to divide and conquer household tasks. I am a full-time student and I work full-time. He works 2 jobs. We both contribute equally and do our best to make time for ourselves and each other despite our busy schedules. For the commenters who had some things to say about me having a therapist or mental health issues, I try my best to ensure that I am my main support system. I have been in the position before of being someone's emotional punching bag due to their mental illness, and I would never put someone I love in that position. I am in therapy because I have experienced an extreme amount of trauma and do not want my complex post-traumatic stress disorder to impact my life and relationships in a negative way. I grew up with a mom with severe anxiety related to the trauma both of us experienced at the hands of my biological father. She does not believe in therapy. I had to call emergency services several times as a small child because of her panic attacks. I love my mom and our relationship has come a long way, but the last thing I would want if or when I have children is for me to be an unstable parental figure. My usage of therapy does not warrant me staying single. My therapist has been very encouraging of this relationship since my boyfriend asked me out 2 years ago. I had gotten out of an incredibly abusive and toxic relationship the year prior and had zero intention of getting into another serious relationship anytime soon. I was thriving and my therapist thought I was ready, but I told my boyfriend that I needed to focus on myself. We took things slow. He was respectful and patient every step of the way until I was ready. He has never raised his voice at me or even cursed at me. He is a very caring partner. I think his love language is based in quality time and acts of service. He is not great with words, but he tries. He can be a bit emotionally distant at times and not know exactly what to say when I'm upset, but that does not prevent him from being there and giving me a hug when I need it. We have been going through a rough patch with our intimacy, and when I was off my medication, I felt like he viewed me as a burden despite him telling me he would be there for me and for me to just ask for whatever I needed. He has told me many times that he is still attracted to me and that it has nothing to do with me, but when I was feeling low, I kind of let my past trauma impact how I felt about myself. Being repeatedly sexually assaulted made me feel like my worth is based in my sexuality, so having a boyfriend who is not all over me anymore made me feel like there was something wrong with me. If I am trying to initiate and am available and the person who loves me does not want it, but someone else was willing to violently take it from me when I did not want it, what does that say about me? I know that is not rational and I have talked a lot about it in therapy, but it is something that I struggle with sometimes. I posted on here during a low time with my depression because I needed to vent and did not want to burden anyone I knew with my irrational negativity. Depression is strange, especially after years of therapy. When I am at my lowest, the intrusive thoughts are overwhelming, but deep down, I know they are irrational and that they will eventually pass, even if it does not feel like it on the surface. I know some of the things I said then were concerning, but I really was not in any danger. There are a lot of things I want to accomplish in my life, and I know I am capable of them even if it does feel hopeless sometimes. I know I have people in my life who love me. I just have a hard time reaching out for help when I need it and need to be better at letting people be there for me. My mom raised me to be really self-sufficient, and she also has a lot on her plate with my dad being sick, so I do not want to bother her and make her spiral more than she already is. I have been set back a lot with my education because of all the things I've been going through, but I know I have a bright future and that I should be proud of myself for making it this far. I am back on medication and am increasing the frequency of my therapy appointments from once a month to every other week. I was doing well before I went off my medication, so I am doing my best to get back on track. Sorry for rambling. I know I do not owe anyone an explanation of my mental health on here, but I know some people were worried. I am okay. I am going to be okay with or without my boyfriend. My mental illness does not prevent me from being a loving and supportive friend and partner. Using therapy does not make me a weak person incapable of standing up for myself and making decisions. Update 3. I am regretting posting an update at all. I do not know why the opinions of strangers bother me, but it is kind of annoying that so many people did not read the entire thing and just said, I wrote all that to convince myself. I wrote that a full 24 hours after I had my conversation with him and debated posting anything at all because I figured people would be convinced he cheated regardless of anything I had to say. It is detailed because so many people had different things to say about different parts of my original post. I thought if I just posted his brother gave him the condoms, people would say that was a vague answer. Of course, it feels like a complex story to someone who never heard about his trip, but the only thing I did not already know was that his brother had given him condoms. His trip was a shit show. He was on the phone with me every single day telling me about it and fell asleep on the phone with me 99% of the time. He was not going out at night. He was not partying. Half his trip he spent with his estranged mother and her crazy, racist, abusive boyfriend, who kept accusing him of stealing and saying wild things about how he could not believe my boyfriend would sleep with someone like me. I had to talk him down on the phone to keep him from freaking out and endangering himself because he had no way of getting home if his mother's boyfriend kicked him out. He already got abandoned in a random town in Portugal by them for like a full day and a half at one point. I am not surprised the condom slipped his mind. If he had not maintained constant communication with me while he was there, I would be more suspicious. If he had not told me about all the other crazy things his brother pulled while he was there, I would be more suspicious. If he had gotten defensive at all, I would be suspicious. He did not lie to me. He did not know they were there. The bag has a million pockets, and he only really uses one of them. The pocket seemed empty from the outside. He forgot he stashed them there. People seem so sure that I am this naive, spineless person when I am not. If you read what I said about my mental health, you would know I already have a tendency to be hyper-vigilant about red flags and to be avoidant to protect myself. I do not like being vulnerable. I do not like depending on other people. I mentioned my boyfriend never yelling or cursing because I have quite literally never witnessed him get angry. The most upset I have seen him was when he was trying to defend me while he was in Europe. He is probably the most calm and stoic person I have ever met. I love that about him. I love him. I trust him. Also, his last serious relationship ended with him catching his ex in the act of cheating on him. She had mental health issues and responded to being caught by attempting to kill herself by walking into traffic. I know some internet troll is going to say that is another far-fetched story, but I know it is true. His best friend's mom, who is basically also his mom, pulled me aside when she met me and told me that she was glad he found someone that makes him so happy after everything he went through with her. I do not think he would cheat on me after going through something like that. He is a really good person. He is fully capable of being a support system for me. I just was afraid to let him because I did not want him to feel like he had to worry about me or take care of me the way he did with her. That is not healthy though. I am trying to be better at trusting people when they say that they want to be there for me, and that includes him. We met at school. He sat behind me in class, so he could not even really see me. When I asked him later what most attracted him to me, he said that I was well-spoken. My appearance was just a bonus. I do not want to sound conceited, but there is rarely a time when I am in public and I am not approached by someone who wants to catcall me, compliment me, or ask me out. I was almost kidnapped twice as a teenager. I hate being approached. I hate being asked out. I turned down every other person that approached me at school trying to hook up or ask me out. But when he did it, he was so nervous and respectful, and he felt different somehow, so I said yes. On our very first date, he took me to an art museum. We went to an amusement park after that. He followed that up with a picnic under the stars where we spoke for at least 5 or 6 hours about our lives and what we wanted in the future. It felt scary at the time because it was the best date I had ever been on in my life, and I did not think I was ready for anything serious, and he came along and made me feel so comfortable and at ease. We both come from emotionally volatile parents and are trying to do our best not to become them. We connected right away, but I still wanted to take things slow. It took 6 months before I was ready to make things official. During that time, he made it clear that I was the only one he was interested in. He detailed my car multiple times, brought me flowers, got my cat little holiday-themed bandanas. He bought me vinyl records of albums that he noticed I listened to in the car. He did all of this without expecting anything in return and still does these things to this day. He is trying to learn how to braid so we do not have to get my hair done anymore. When he moved in, he organized my whole closet without me asking because he remembered me complaining about it and wanted to take something off my plate. He saw I have been wanting a Gustav Westman mirror for a while and built me one. With his hands. Took me to Home Depot and let me pick out the color I wanted for it and everything. He treats me like a queen. The only rough patch in our relationship has been over the past couple of months when our intimacy decreased, but I have faith things will get better. Finding those condoms freaked me out, but I am over it now. It has been resolved. If you cannot see the value he adds to my life, that is your problem. I am happy. I am not responding to any more comments about it. I appreciate everyone that was supportive and recognized the effort I have put into my emotional regulation. I am going to take a break from Reddit and enjoy the life I have. TV Maniac 5 said, I am also really curious to learn the specifics of the boyfriend's family dynamics. Why was he basically adopted by his best friend's mom while his siblings lived with his actual mom? Vicious Banana said, condoms are usually sold in boxes of 3, 6, 10, 12, 24, 40, or 100. Did you discuss his initial lie about his friend having put them in there? I never ever thought my husband would cheat on me. He had been cheated on by his first very serious girlfriend, and it had devastated him. He cheated, he lied. He did so repeatedly. When I called him on it, his lies became very elaborate and detailed. The more details there are, the greater the likelihood that it is a lie. Be vigilant and take care of yourself. This next post was made in the AITA subreddit by a user named Unusual Capital. The post is titled, I don't care about my wife's affair. I am a 29-year-old man and my wife is also 29 years old. She has been having an affair for 2 years and I've been aware of it pretty much the whole time. We have been together for 7 years and married for 5. We do not have kids. I have been working from home since COVID hit. For the last 3+ years, she has been a secretary in a large office building. Now, I am not going to pretend like we had the perfect marriage 2 years ago and that I cannot believe she would do this. I was totally complacent in my life and really was not putting much effort into our relationship at all. That does not excuse what she did, and she had her own issues with intimacy and communication that led us to where we were then. I just wanted to be clear that I am no saint in all of this. I totally understand we were basically roommates that on rare occasions had sex. Well, I found out right away when the emotional affair started. I have all of our accounts logged into every device we have, including my work computer. I mean, synced email, text, photos, social media, and so on. So I was basically reading about her affair regularly, including when it became a physical affair about 4 weeks in. The part that told me this was over, though, was that I felt nothing about this. I was totally indifferent, maybe a little embarrassed at worst. When the physical affair started 2 years ago, I recognized this marriage was dead and that I should just divorce, mostly because I felt nothing. I started looking into lawyers and figured we could just do this easily and amicably. Well, here is where the crazy part happens. When the emotional affair started, she seemed, I would not say happy, but less sad. Then, the weekend after the physical affair started, I got the shock of my life. She came into my office that Saturday morning and asked me to take her on a hike and a picnic. Initially, I thought this was the moment to burst her bubble and reveal what I know, but I did not. I decided to actually get up and do this. I kind of thought she was going to reveal it herself and ask for a divorce. We had a really nice time. It was a great day and she never brought up anything. I chalked it up as one more good memory before we ended this thing. Then she asked me out again that week. Then we had intimacy. I do not know if it was shame, guilt, or what, but she was basically taking the initiative to improve our marriage. After that first week, she began to open up more about her feelings. I, for some reason, had a fire lit under me and started to make some effort in our relationship, started reconnecting with some old friends, and got all the laundry off the gym equipment. The affair continued, but as we spent more time together over those early weeks, and since it really gave me no concern and everything seemed better, I decided to just forget about it and divorcing her and just start enjoying my life. I do still love this woman very much. Up until 2 days ago, we were in a really solid place. We had outings every other weekend, date night on Thursday, regular intimacy, and communication. I do not even read their messages anymore, just occasionally to see if it is still going on. 2 days ago, I noticed she was having frequent and long conversations with one of her close friends. I asked my wife about it, and it turns out this friend's husband got caught having an affair. My wife has been comforting her. This would not have been a big deal, but my wife then started bashing the husband for cheating. I do not know why I said it, but it came out. You are one to judge. She got super defensive and pressed me for why I said that. I initially tried to apologize and move on, but she was not letting up, and I eventually spilled that I have known about her affair the whole time. She tried to play dumb, which annoyed me, so I started citing specifics. She then got really mad at me, started crying, and accused me of not caring about her. I got pissed and then started yelling at her because I am not the one having an affair. It got heated, we went to separate rooms and slept it off. Yesterday morning, she got up extra early and went to work before I got up. I tuned back into their messages and she had broken up with the other person. He was messaging her constantly on every app and she just kept blocking him. She came home early yesterday. I went to talk to her and she stopped me, looked at me and asked, "How could you let this go on?" I replied, "Because I just did not care." She then called me a huge asshole and locked herself in our bedroom until she left for work this morning. She got home tonight, said nothing to me and locked herself in again. I cannot even imagine in what bizarre world I could possibly be the one in the wrong in this situation. Is there a perspective out there where I am? If so, please share it with me, because in my mind there is not. Update. First off, I appreciate everyone's comments on the original post, except those of you who just get on and throw insults. You need therapy more than anyone on this whole sub. If you missed the original post, you can see it in my profile. I decided against showing the post or any comments. Instead, I used it to organize my thoughts and points. Our conversations, which I am going to share below, were in no way linear. We jumped around in topic, talking about this, which led to that, only to come back to this, reveal that, and so on. So I am going to try to put it all together as coherently as possible. Like I said in a comment on the other post, my wife finally came out at around 12:30 a.m. Friday and joined me on the couch in my office. She curled up next to me and just cried for a solid 15 to 20 minutes, and we were otherwise silent. When she was ready, we began talking until we were worn out. We picked that up again last night, which was also taxing. We finally finished up, for now, this morning. This includes long spells of crying, hysterical bonding, and a phone call to the other person while I listened. The start of the affair was pretty cliche. Flirty small talk made her feel good, escalated to messaging and sharing personal details, and eventually to kissing. Probably do not need to explain the rest of the escalation from there. We talked a lot about what got her to that point. She remembers it seemed like nothing she did could get my attention. I agreed with this completely. I also stated, though, that I do not remember too many attempts. She acknowledged that she was not very forthcoming in those days, always hinting at what she wanted and not just outright saying it. There was not any one moment she said that broke the camel's back, just a collection of times. When the other person came into the picture, the validation was intoxicating, especially in contrast to years of neglect. However, she said she felt a ton of guilt and shame. She was in the same spot I was when it started, assuming we would just divorce, as we were largely just roommates at that point. The hike and picnic were supposed to be the last bit of assurance that our marriage was over. She did not expect me to agree to go or for it to be such a pleasant time. From that point, we started reconnecting, and she made the decision to make the effort as long as I kept making the effort. She opened up more and I was responding. That got us to where we have been the last 2 years. As to why she did not end it with the other person once I was back, she admitted she was just being selfish, kept telling herself she would, but did not actually want to. I was planning dates, listening, and back to initiating intimacy often. He doted on her and validated her. She had the best of everything. Eventually, she just convinced herself that what I did not know did not hurt me. This makes her feel stupid now, knowing I knew the whole time. We talked about my surveillance and she said she is having trouble getting over this and feels betrayed. I did not give her any excuses. It came up because she did ask how I knew, and I told her she has been logged into our old desktop, my work computer, on her email, Instagram, Facebook, etc. for years, as well as it being connected to our cloud. I owned up to how wrong this was, but we both agreed that if we are going to make the reconciliation work, we are going to have to forgive each other for a lot of things. As many said and were right about, my "I do not care" statement was extremely triggering and hurtful. It took her right back to where we used to be. I took advice and organized my thoughts and told her that it was not that I do not care. I care about her immensely and changed for the better these last 2 years because I wanted to be there for her. I then explained I should have said, "It does not bother me." She is still trying to wrap her head around this. I am trying to explain how I just basically do not feel jealousy or insecurity, which is hard to put into words. It also causes a mix of emotions on her end. I told her that having her be happy again made everything worth it for me. Also, the affair got me off my ass for the first time in years. So in a way, I have kind of told myself it was a blessing these past years. Finally, to address the breakup with the other person, she said once it was out, she went into a doom spiral, thinking everything in her life was a sham. She felt guilty over everything. She cut him loose and locked me out. She was basically beating herself up for being awful to both of us. Listening to her call with him was hard even for me. From what she has told me in our conversations and the call, I am pretty convinced he was and is in love with her. I think he was holding out hope we would divorce at some point. She laid it out for him that we would not and that we are going to do everything to make this marriage work. He did not beg or degrade himself, but seemed genuinely hurt. When the call ended, she reblocked him and stated she has to go no contact so he can heal and actually go find someone, and we can fix our issues. We are working out our plans to fix our marriage, not totally sure where to go from here. She wants individual counseling for herself, so we will make that happen. After she has done that for a while, we will probably start marriage counseling. We are also going to symbolically start fresh, and I am getting a new work computer. From there, it is being open and honest with each other every day and making sure we are being present in our lives. I love this woman very much and want to make this work. Now, to address some of the other questions. Sorry to all the polyamorous or ethically non-monogamous people, we did not discuss this. She never called herself anything other than a cheater or unfaithful. I do not have the emotional bandwidth to bring this up right now, so if this is ever discussed, it will be down the road. I have never been tested for autism or depression or anything, really. I have always been stoic and was raised that men do not show emotion, only when appropriate. I seriously doubt I have any underlying undiagnosed mental health issue. I have never been much of a feelings person, but I am good in a social scene and understand societal norms. Some people just do not feel as deeply as everyone else seems to. Do not know if this is the update everyone wanted, but it is where we are at today. Might be somewhere totally different tomorrow. Right now, all I can do is take it a day at a time. Ill Perspective said, I hope the next update does not include news that my wife cheated on me and is now pregnant. She grilled her friend's husband for having an affair while she herself was having an affair. This looks like a mess. Pon Moroingi said, I honestly do not know how I feel about this one. Maybe it is because I know I could never be in the OP's shoes and not care, but I also know I would never be able to forgive her. In the end, it is their life. If this is what is right for them, then so be it. Weasel Panties said, it is kind of wild to me that she was freaking out about him being able to see messages on devices she left herself signed into. I mean, my partner and I leave each other signed into devices we both use, out of convenience. And yeah, I guess if either one of us had an affair, that could make it hard to hide, but it is not exactly some crazy surveillance system. And then she said she felt betrayed.